again, I'm hooked into Steve's internet in the shop here, and I'm doing the best I can, and I hope it's acceptable. But anyways, Steve, you know, everybody knows your interiors, and I think the biggest question is coming up with all these cool ideas. How do you, any idea how many interiors you've done throughout your career?
Oh my goodness, that would be a hard one because we put out probably realistically at least 25 to 35 years. That's a lot, especially you've been doing it as I think one of the first street rods we started doing was back in the late 90s. So it's hard telling.
So just a little over 20.
About 20 years.
Now you say street rod, were you doing something before street rods?
Oh yeah, we it's crazy how we got started. Originally, it's just got hungry, needed a job, needed to eat, so just regular interior shop and learn everything I could learn about it. And when people would come in and say, "Hey, we need to get this done," and the owner would be like, "Well, we can't do that." I'm like, "What is it that can't be done?"
Right.
So we picked up on that, or I did, and that pretty much self-taught, and then always it was a privilege to start with nothing and learn everything, and we're still learning every day. I mean, every time we do a car, we're better. Right. We want to make this thing a little better. Try to stay up on the
world. It's hard to keep up with. I mean, stuff that was cool 5 years ago ain't so cool today, and
I come up 5 years.
Right.
Well, one thing, it has to do with the car. How did you build that car? And then we want to incorporate something that blends and flows with the car that you built. So if you brought us like this car behind us, a 1908 Buick, well, obviously we're not going to do the same interior now as we would this Corvette behind us. So each car that we get, we look at it and see what body flows, what lines it has, and stuff like that, and try to incorporate that in with the interior.
Now, would you do all 32 Fords the same, or would
well, even all 32 Fords built different. They'll have different wheels, different. So we'll pick up something maybe in the wheel, or something maybe in the steering wheel, or some body line stations, or whatever. You want it old school, you want it modern. There's so many different ways that you can do an interior. I talk to the person, get an idea of what they're wanting. You want something modern, or you want something old school that looks modern? Up to me and say, "Here,
which is the best thing to do," as I tell people.
Oh goodness, yeah, we've had a few people scared before because when they say that, I just do what I want, and and they'll call me up and say, "Hey, how's my car?" I said, "Looking good." "What's it look like?" I said, "Looking good." "What color did you use?" "You told me to use my left." You'll see it when you get it. So I've had a few people nervous, but they loved it at the end, because at the end result, we want that car to look as good as you want it to look, because that's how we say it.
Right.
So it tickles us to see satisfied customers.
And I don't see many there.
Thank God. Yeah. I mean, in the world we're living in, it's hard to please a lot of people. I'm sure that there's some people out there that, but no, I mean, everybody that we've done work for, they pretty much love the work. And I'm
repeat customers.
Oh, yeah, we get
the matter is that very rarely does somebody build a second car and it doesn't come here. The third car doesn't come here. Once they come here. And I mean, we've had clients come in here that have brought you perfectly good cars.
Oh yeah.
And if you take that interior out, which your version. Jim Cody wants to know, what was the most difficult job? Yeah. There's a car out there, you can see it over in the red, you're like, Corvette? C6, C7, is that all modern stuff, or is it just the Corvette?
Well, like this Corvette right here, we had to come out of this car. So the thing is built around the dash and the bird cage. So the fenders, the glass, everything is put on after the dash is in. So that's a big job right there. And a lot of the Corvettes are just so tough to get in. They're so, the older ones are small. These right here are just so much, and they're really not built to do a custom interior. So we're going to see what this turns out like here before long. But there's some stuff that's been difficult and challenging, especially when a builder. Oh my goodness, You know, you spend a day just rewiring stuff and trying to get it where you can do an interior.
Because people don't understand that, yeah, you, depending on how, because when you get into a custom build, there's relays and all kinds of stuff that need to be hidden and put different, if the builders put those in inconvenient places or they don't run it straight and smooth, and Steve's got to straighten it out, because once you put the interior over the top of it, there.
And yeah, and every car we do, we try to fix it to where it's functional. We know there's going to be problems down the road. We fix it where you can pull stuff out, do whatever you got to do to fix what you're, the problem I have, put it all back together, where the interior go back. Just,
people always want to know, they ask me, those interiors last, or they just show car interiors. And I have 2 of his interiors, and in the most that's probably going on 3 years old. And we did the seats and the door panels and that, them seats look like brand new. There's not been any problem. So yeah, no, these aren't this. They are show car interiors, but they wear really well. Because I think a lot of people see that you use that plastic board in a lot of things, and they're concerned that how well is that going to look.
Oh, we've done cars that look just like they did when they rode out here 10 years ago or more.
Right.
I realize that the interiors cost a lot of money, and we don't want to give a part of it that's going to fall apart next month. We want that thing to do as long as you have a car.
Well, they are guaranteed for life.
You don't have, some repairs that people drive them, all the time say, hey, more spot on our seats, bring them on, we'll look at it and fix it. Right. It ain't no big deal.
I've seen cars fall up on the way to the show.
Oh, yeah.
Say, hey, I got this, and you fix that up, and you and the boys hit it right away, and, put it back in the trailer, and it's on its way back to the show again.
That is one thing that we do is if we do a car, we're not perfect. There's only one perfect one, but I ain't him.
Right.
But, if something happens, I don't put you on the back list and say, oh, we'll get to it next month. I'm going to bring it to me right now and we'll get it taken care of.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's one of those things. Steve's got time, and I've seen him working well after normal hours to make that stuff happen. Mm-hmm. So again, it's not just a good act by somebody that really cares that their product lasts and it goes on for a long time. Somebody wants to know when you have one that you can put back on and you just like it went the way you want it to, and maybe your favorite type of car to work on.
I guess some of the favorite projects I have is not an end road. It could be, it's just, a part of something that you're not going to get anywhere else. That one-off time, or, some of the more difficult ones are or stuff like that, or America's Most Beautiful Roadster. It's something you really got, that's a little car. There's been quite a few cars I like. There's always 32 Roadster. It went to America's Most Beautiful Roadster show, and it won America's Most Beautiful Roadster. So those are pretty neat. Actually, it's funny that car that Bobby brought over, he brought me a rendering of it, and I looked at the render and I said, I ain't doing that. He said, what do you mean you ain't doing that? I said, I ain't doing that. I said, you're competing for the America's Most Beautiful Roadster. I want to give you something that we don't do, and just like in a giveaway car. Right. So we done something really cool, and he's like, hey, what are you on? So it's pretty neat to be able to, point people in the right direction. Now, I will look at all the renderings if you have some, and we'll work together and work with that. But ultimately, we want the best for you, and we'll work together with you and everything to get it. So
at the end of the day, your name's on it.
Oh yeah.
So you have to be careful there too. Because sometimes people will want something that really they shouldn't have.
Yeah. And I have told people, no, I won't do something. I explain why. Explain the bit that's done. And most of the time, they agree.
So you have to stay fluid. Even when you get like a Brockmeyer rendering or something like that, you have, as you're building through the interior, you can make some changes to it. Because things that look better in real life or worse in real life than you did in the picture.
It was like, every Brockmeyer's got some great ideas and his drawings and renderings. But, a lot of times, like, the rendering will be a little bit shaped different than the car. So you have to sort of compact some stuff or expand some stuff, to get the drawing and everything right.
We get deliveries.
I have no idea.
Yeah, guys, there again, Vinny, like I said, I don't know what else to do. Sorry having some lag issues out there, but again, we're doing.
before you know it, they're already teenagers, they're gone. So I try to spend time with the wife and the family and away from the car scene.
Right.
You know, just because, you know, you're in it day and night. So I think it's pretty nice. And 70 Super Sport Nova, that's pretty cool. 70 Corvette convertible, and a 14.
Yeah, you got. What's your favorite?
I think my favorite car overall is Corvette.
Yeah.
I like Corvettes. Almost any year, but cars, those are nice. I like convertibles. I actually drive a 14 convertible, and it's pretty cool.
That's just like driving a car, right?
Yeah, but faster.
Yeah.
You know, you get around people quick.
What do you see the future of the custom industry from interiors? I mean, is it going to go more modern, you think? Or like, you know, I mean, do you see any kind of trends coming or things that different things that are on the horizon?
Well, hopefully, everything don't turn to electric cars and these things become dinosaurs.
Right.
You know, so I don't know about, you know, how that, but I think cars, you know, I have seen, just since I've been doing it, I've seen the hot rod part of it sort of decline a lot, and now people and muscle cars, 50s cars and things like that. So
Now, when you say hot rod, you mean the actual definition of a hot rod, a traditional type of hot rod.
yeah, Camaros, Mustang, you know, or Chevelles, GTOs, things like that. You know, the 30s. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are sort of dropped.
Right.
You know, you don't see as many of them.
Cars,
Exactly, yeah.
And pickup trucks.
Yeah, oh yeah, C10s are really hot, stuff like that. Fords,
Right.
they're really, yeah, the pickup truck industry has really picked up a lot. But yeah, the hot rod business is sort of, yeah, the 30s.
Right.
You know, they've sort of dropped down a little bit.
What kind of changes have you seen since you got started?
Well, I know when I first started, we done a ton of like 30 model cars, 37s, 33s, 32s, things like that. And one of the things that we've changed is, used to all your interiors were like flat door panels and flat, you know, everything's just flat, covered but fit good. You know, maybe a sole line around the door panels, an armrest, and one of them back in the day. But I was like, man, this just ain't cutting it. I'm like, you know, so started making some dimensional door panels, 3D door panels, 3D lighting in it, a lot of aluminum trim, and just, you know, some different things like that to really give it that wow factor. You know, you turn on the LED, you know, everything comes up.
Do you look to late model cars for inspiration at times?
I think we was doing the LED lighting on the cars before the late model cars. Somebody looked at our stuff. Somebody from GM's like, check this out. We got to do our water recording.
Right.
Yeah, we've been doing that for quite a while. But yeah.
Do you ever see yourself, I mean, with the car and go, man, I could make a cool version of this in a shit.
Well, yeah, we've actually put some late models really good. Now this one, you know, like I said, this Corvette behind us is going to be a little bit of a challenge because we're taking everything that we can cover, right, with a blue stitch, blue carpet. And I say blue, I mean like electric blue. Oh, wow. It's going to be really crazy. And then some accent lighting and stuff. Be a little challenging incorporating some accent lighting into a new car. Well, you went through that one. So
yeah, because there's not just like hot leads that run through all this stuff anymore. They're diodes and they're digital, which means, I don't know, it means it's a pink light. That's what it means. But more than that, I worked on a Yukon. It wasn't such. It was, and I understand very little. I know cool, but these new LT motors, the LT4s and the LT5s, those things actually run on tablets. Like, they don't even have gauges that wire gauges. They send a signal to a tablet to say the temperature. They send a signal to this tablet to let you know oil pressure. But there's no hardwire to that anymore. And my goodness, when it was hardwired, you'd still be like, great, I got a short, where do I find it? Yeah. But now, you're talking about, you've got a black box talking to a black box, and what? Why are we talking to each other?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really crazy, all these new cars and electronics and like you said, all the computers and everything it takes to run one. It's not like the old school car. if it don't fire, it's either the plugs are bad, or it ain't getting fire, or the gasoline. You know, like, you know, your list was low, and then you check it out, get it running. Right. These new ones, it could be anything.
Sure enough. Yeah, because your tail lights burn out. And, you know, that was part of the reason. That's the other thing we figure out. And tell me, again, somebody's asking the same question, but, you know, where do you get your passion from? Where do you get your inspiration from? I mean, you know, you've been doing it a long time, but you got, you know, you would think that you would somewhere be like lightning bolts coming and going, I want to try to do that. I want to, you know, I want to move in that direction. I want to try that style in one of the cars that I get.
Well, to be honest with you, I truly believe it's a God-given talent. I believe that He's given me the ability to do this kind of work and the health to do it. And so, you know, if you're talking to me, you know, as a person, I try to see what, you know, what kind of creative. I've always been creative. I like to do stuff with my hands and try to build stuff. So I like trying to see, you know, if we can improve and make things better and stuff. But yeah, it's one of the things that gives me the passion to do this and do it right is because my family wants to eat, right? You know, and I want to eat. So if we don't do stuff right, then we ain't eating nothing. So we got to keep work going and stuff. So that's one of the things. Now, I want to keep people happy. Right. And in the world that we live in today, it's hard to keep people happy. You know, there's so many people out there that they lie to you and, you know, and all that stuff. Now, I talked to a guy today, and, you know, he's like, you know, how long would it take you to do my car? And I said, to be honest with you, it's going to take, you know, 4 or 5 months. And I was like, he's like, really, that long? I said, yeah. I said, I don't want to lie to you, it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks. Then you call me 3 or 4 weeks and say, hey, my car done? No, he done that. You know, so I'd just rather be honest with you up front, and you're going to get a great product when you get back. You know, patience, Bible says patience is a virtue. Right. So, you know, we just, we do the best we can, and it's just, I just have a passion to put the full creative interior into a car.
And that's one of the things that when I'm in the field and people are asking me about deadlines and how backed up you are, this, that, and the other thing, Steve very rarely, and I don't know when, but I know he's not 100%, but he very rarely listens to that. If you tell somebody, it will be done, because I have a vehicle that's sitting here that was invited to the Dirty Dozen, and their response was, well, Steve can get it done. I said, if you get it to Steve's, and he says it'll be done by the Dirty Dozen, you will have that thing done by the Dirty Dozen. And that's not the way it is with everybody. It's actually the opposite in the industry. They will tell you 3 months and take 6 months.
Yeah, that's why I just rather be honest with you, you know, and that way you got a heads up, you know what you're looking for, what's going on. I just like this car, but I ordered the top material for this thing about 3.5 months ago, and I still haven't got it. So I mean, there's some things that's almost out of my control. I can't control the manufacturing.
Has COVID really caused some problems?
It has, yeah. Because, you know, back last year, well, prior to all this, you know, COVID stuff, it was everything was going pretty good. You pick the phone, order something, be there the next day or whatever. Now it's like, you know, you may get it in a week. It may take, like I said, this top material, I've ordered it, been waiting on it for months. Right. You know, so it's.
Now, is that an actual top that's coming in pre-made?
No, I'm making it. That's just getting the material.
Now, does it take special, or is it just like
just parts cloth, stay fast material and stuff?
It's just hard to get. And it's not, sometimes it's a shipping issue, and sometimes because a lot of this good leather and stuff comes from Italy.
Yeah,
bringing it in country to shoot.
Yeah, the United States don't make any kind of leather or anything anymore, so everything's overstays. Everything's got to come through customs and all that. Yeah, in the world we're living today, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get stuff. But I've been pretty fortunate. You know, more of the guys have pretty much kept everything in stock. Walsworth Leather's kept a lot of stuff in stock. And, you know, Miami Rubber, they've got good chrome leather that they keep in stock. So it's not been too bad. Some of the carpets are getting a little hard, and some of the purple tops, but the leather's going, it's that pretty good.
I know that you waited for some red leather for a while. Popular colors.
Oh yeah.
If somebody was interested in getting into the industry, what advice would you give them? What kind of skills do you need?
Common sense.
Okay, well, that's harder to come by than anything. Yeah. Give them something easy. Give them something less hard to get their common sense.
Yeah. Common sense is not as common as it used to be.
Right.
But I mean, you know, pretty much with anything, you gotta have the ability to want to work for one thing. And then, learn, like a lot of it's, I'm self-taught, and everything I do. But no matter who it is, if they're a good interior guy and you got somebody underneath, the people need to listen to them. A lot of us listen. If you listen and you can learn and they can show you, that it'll do pretty good.
Do you have to be a whiz with a sewing machine?
No, I've actually, it's actually benefited us to teach a couple of guys. I got two boys two of my sons that work for me. One of them's doing great at building the seats and stuff and doing trunks. He's running Noah. He's done really good at that. And Garrett pretty much does all the French things and stuff now. So you just gotta concentrate. Concentrate. Look at what you're doing. Steady hand.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some traits that you could have that would make you more successful than not.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not. I mean, we talked a lot about the design and all that kind of stuff, but it really all starts out with a flat sheet of skin.
Everything comes from
And so it's got to be cut and sewn, and some of the stuff's got to be bubble sewn, and then it's got to be put together. See, there's the other. Okay, it's got to get put together in a puzzle in a particular way, so that when it gets done, it can actually be fitted where it needs to be fitted.
Yeah, when you see all these three-dimensional door panels and consoles and everything in the car, it came a flat 4 by 8 sheet of plastic, different thicknesses that you got to cut, shape, heat, bend. You got to just mold everything together, heat it, shape it, make sure everything fits. So, I mean, it's not like a later model car that you pull a seat out, cut the seat, put it back in.
Right.
I mean, they bring a car in here that has nothing in it. You start making a seat, making the platform, making everything fit, and then you cut it. So I mean, it's like totally different than just having an interior work. Going down to the local trim shop and getting a seat cover or headlight on. Yeah, totally different.
Yeah. But no, that's the one thing I was wondering about. And not to sound male chauvinistic anyway, because I'm all about the girl power, right? As you know that. Something that a lot of guys pursue. And so I always wondered, did you help fix your jeans or what made you warm up to a sewing machine? Because you don't come across as the type that would warm up to a sewing machine, but you obviously have.
Well, when you're in school and home ec and teaching, full of girls, or you're going to be able to, some guys just pick, be with the girls and it's all right. But no, in all honesty, pretty much all of my brothers know how to sew. My cousins know how to sew. They're all guys. I know more guys that sew than I do women.
Right.
So it's and
I wonder why that is though. That's not the norm. I mean, it must have been something in your family that you became seamstress or what do they call it? People that make suits.
Oh, yeah, Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, you come from a long family of Taylor. I never know. Now you can make suits instead of making jeans.
Right. Yeah, I did. It was funny that I didn't know how to sew anything. And then one day, the person I was working for, they left and went to, she was having an absolute nightmare trying to sew up a back-to-back bucket seat, back-to-back swivel bucket seats on Monte Carlos and stuff like that. And I'd always paid attention, even though I never sewed. I'd always watch and see how it was done. Well, when they left, I was like, how hard can this be? I just jumped in behind the sewing machine and I just lined everything up the way I seen it should have went, and sewed it all up, put it all together. When she come in, she goes, "Who sewed this up?" I said, "I did." She goes, "But you don't know how to sew." She goes, "I'm glad you do it now." And ever since then, I've been sewing. So it's if you want to know how, if you want to do something,
right,
you can do it.
So you're saying passion is probably the first thing you want to, you dig doing an interior department.
Yeah.
Do you have any desire to do the outside part?
Well, I actually had a body shop at one time, and I had a. At one time we had a body shop, paint shop, and interior shop. We wasn't doing street rods at the time. We was doing like car lot stuff, and I actually done a lot of lowrider cars back in the day with all the wrinkles. Yeah, so
there were drapes on the roof and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. If you open up a lowrider magazine, we used to do that.
Big buttons in it.
Yeah.
Big bills look like you're sitting in your living room.
Oh yeah.
Man,
that?
No, I'd like to know.
Well, I went over on Magnolia, looking for work because we was hungry, and I was like, I said, hey, I said, y'all got everyday cars you need interior work on that? He picked up this magazine, he opened it up and showed me a lowrider magazine, a lowrider car. He said, can you do this? I looked at it and said, well, yeah, we can do that. Never done one in my life. And
let me take that back.
we fixed that thing up, and I'll tell you what, we were so busy with doing lowrider cars for a long time. It actually took us a modification of doing that type of interior, so it was really hard to transition from that to street rods because people didn't think I could do street rods because I was doing lowrider cars. So it took a little bit of time, but you know, after I know you do my nose for me.
We didn't get that one.
No, but that's all right. I seen it.
Well, Vic wants to know if he can dunk the basketball. He can see the man of many talents. That's the other thing. Somebody wanted to know what hidden talents do you have. You play an instrument. We were just talking about this before we went live because Steve does sing. He can sing. I don't know, like a bird, but he can sing. He sings good. I mean, he does the what is it, Cabin Fever show?
Yeah, I did Cabin Fever for quite a while, and then back when Charles, I had enough of it. You know, it was all right. It was fun. I enjoyed it. You know, but I put my time. That's somebody else's time.
Not you know to anybody that no, we can't sing those songs. Yeah, we're gonna have Steve sing songs. But I will tell you that to know Steve Holcomb, you have to know that he is off time in what he does. He's real involved with his family and his church. And he even does some things.
Doing this, that's what I would be doing. Doing the world is being more, or you know, something to that effect. Yeah, I've been to Brazil a few times. Helped build some churches there. Been to Thailand, and been to Arizona to the Indian Reservation. Been to Central America. I can't even think of the name. We do. That's pretty much my spare time. I go to church on Wednesday nights.
Singing the choir.
Singing the choir.
So does Tim.
Tim
the ones who know it, so
yeah.
you're making the comments too. He's got that's all in the family. That's his cousin. So yeah.
Yeah. So very much enjoy that. I mean, just you know, we could get into another whole Bible. I'm also a Bible prophecy teacher too. So
you have that on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look up the second coming of Christ Jesus, we do. I do. There's close to 700,000 people.
First started coming out here. And I've been coming out here for about a year, so I was real comfortable with Steve, and he was busy, and I was setting up a shoot because I was asking when a car was going to be done, and he was like, it was a long time. For whatever reason, it was a long time, and I was like, why is it going to take so long? He said, well, I got to go. I'm going on a mission trip for, what was it, 10 days? Serious? And he's like, yeah, every year I go and do that. And sure enough, he disappeared one day, and 10 days later, he was back at it in front because she went and did it too.
Yeah, yeah.
She went and did it too.
Yeah, she went to Indonesia one time. It was good.
That must be
funny to your soul. You know, especially when you know the times that we're living in. You know, so call me one day. Maybe one day we'll do a video on that. If somebody's interested, I'd be more than happy to tell them. Right. So it's pretty amazing.
And he called you to be in the ministry, or called you to be in the industry of custom interiors?
No, I think, I think God, you know, directs your path no matter where you go. You know, so the way I was called from that I was running was so crazy. Well, I'll just go and tell you.
Well, I was going to say, if somebody says, does Steve drink beer at birth, and there was a dad, wine, women, and someone for sure.
That was it.
How many kids do you have?
Well, between me and Veronica, we got 8. It's like the Brady Bunch. So she had some, and I had some. We got quite a few grandchildren. Yeah.
Steve, having this huge family, but like I said, there was a day when you were a little wilder than you are now, and you had offspring.
Yeah.
Several of them.
Yeah, my oldest granddaughter, she's 19 now.
19.
So I was in my 30s, young 30s, when I had my granddaughter. You know, we'd go around and everybody, oh, you got such a pretty kid, such a pretty little girl. I said, that's for my granddaughter. No, what? You know, I'm still in my 30s, you know, I'm like, what? Or early 30s. So, yeah, it was crazy. Crazy life, crazy start. You know, I thank God that He may allow me to come this far.
Right.
Because I mean, you know, in all honesty, I hate even saying this, but you know, obviously I was not a Christian my whole life. None of us were, you know. We've all got grace for sure. But the first time I heard God talk to me, I was fixing to take a man's life. And God's like, I got a plan for you. I'm like, what? Who is this? You know, that's the last person I was looking for was God at the time. Right. You know, because I was standing in front of somebody fixing to take their life. But you know, years went by. I was like, God wouldn't let me.
You didn't take his life.
God wouldn't allow me to pull the trigger. I wanted to, but you know, it just didn't happen. You know, He didn't allow me to happen. And then, of course, I was a partier, you know, drinking and all that stuff. And then
I'm glad you weren't doing that sober. Right. I'd be worried about you if you're out doing that sober.
I was sober when I had that hearing loss. Yeah. But you know,
see, y'all find out stuff. I knew that he had a wild past. I knew that he was crazy in the past.
Yeah.
I've heard some motorcycle stories and stuff like that, but I was unaware that you got yourself into that type of situation.
Yeah. That's funny because I wasn't in church the first time I heard God, and I wasn't in church when I surrendered my life, and I wasn't in church when God reaffirmed my life. All three times I was fixing. First time I was fixing to take a man's life. Second time I was like, you know, I was drunk. So God does hear drunk people. I was drunk as they could be. I just stood out in the field and cried, God, if you're truly who you say you are, I surrender. I'm done. I didn't know what it was like to be a Christian. What is it like to be a Christian? Old ladies across the street? I didn't know. You know, I'm like, but I knew I just messed up my life myself. I gave up. Yeah, I could have killed myself and been happy. Right. So I thought I would. But my kids wouldn't have been happy or anything. But you know, I'm like, so you know, I just cried out and said, God, if you who you say you are, I'm giving my life to you. I'm done. And I didn't feel any different. I was like, well, you know, this didn't work. This Christianity bad. I was thinking in my mind, I said, this didn't work. Even though I truly meant it when I said it. I was like, so I just went back to the bar and got me a beer, opened up, and before I could take that beer and get a drink, I heard the Holy Spirit talk to me again and said, this is not who you are anymore. You've been bought with a price, and you're a new creation. So I put the beer down, then he takes a sip of it, paid for it, and that was the last time I ever been to a bar.
How long ago?
Probably about 22 years ago. So it's
why did you straighten up?
Oh yeah.
Because you're being
I should have been dead many times.
Right.
You know, so
I think that there's a lot of us in that situation. Saved by grace, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Thank goodness he had a plan for us because we would have been wasted long before we were able to realize our success or to realize what we really are here to do. Because when I first started coming out here, Tim told me one day we were talking, he said, we're not here to do hot rod interiors. And if you understand what he was saying, it's more than that. It's a bonus. Yeah, right. You know, the fact that we get to do what we love to do and be involved in this industry is not necessarily our purpose, you know, because my story is close to Steve's, you know. I sweated being a missionary when I grew up. I grew up in church, so I was always like, I don't want to be a missionary. I don't want to be a preacher. They ain't having no fun, you know. And you know, now here I am, ScottieDTV, and I have this big platform. And at the end of the day, I still got to give all the credit to him. All the blessing to him. Oh yeah. I can't do anything. So I don't put any of this together. I met Steve through an email. You know, I have a funny story. At the time, I was sending out emails to anybody that was within driving distance. I could make a cool video at their shop. And it didn't matter if you were in the boats, cars, whatever. Well, I had dealt with this guy out here that was making a particular type of car, and I don't want to mention it because I'm not trying to hose him. But his name was Steve. And I found out that things weren't what they were supposed to be with him, and I wasn't going to shoot videos out there anymore. So Steve calls me one Saturday afternoon and starts talking to me. And I think it's this guy. I think it's the guy I'm trying to get away from, you know. And after I get off the phone, I'm like, that does not make any sense, you know. So I called Steve back. I said, hey, who are you and why are you calling? He's like, I'm Steve Holcomb. I do cool interiors, and you sent me an email. And I'm like, okay. And so I went out. Within 15 minutes, we were like best friends. And here comes his wife, Veronica. I'll never forget. We're so excited because I found this. Look what I found, right? You see what I shoot out here. So I'm doing backwards. Steve, on the other hand, could see the benefit of what I was going to do for him. So we were, like I said, instantly. We had that bond, you know. And here comes Veronica. I love her like a sister. She comes in and she said, what are y'all talking about? So we explained it to her. She goes, well, I don't know. These aren't our cars. We can't just let you do that. And Steve and I both looked at us and trust us. People are going to want us to do this. They build these cars. They're going to want us to do this. And that has become one of that we do try to cover these cars. People know if they come out here, there's a good chance they're gonna end up on ScottieDTV. And I would not be where I'm at today if not for Steve. He took me to the top like that, you know. I mean, Bobby Alloway and Griffey and all those people, I met all those people through Steve. And if I had an issue getting in somewhere, I would either come back to Steve and be like, hey, I'd really like to get into this shop, and he would work that out for me. Or if I was in a situation where I could name drop, I'd be like, well, I shoot all Steve Holcomb stuff. And they'd be like, you know Steve? Yeah, I know Steve. Well, then they would soften up and let me come in. So just an absolute blessing, brother, that you and I have been able to hook up and do what we do. And
It's been over 10 years now. Yeah.
I was right in the beginning when I hooked up with you. It was right in the beginning. And I told Steve before we went live tonight, you know, it's a mind blow that, you know, we're getting ready to go live to the world. And, you know, people follow what we do and they like what we do. And we're getting ready to have a live broadcast to the world from God. How cool is that? And, no, just like I said, what a blessing. And Steve's always supported what I've done and got me in. He's got me into places that I wish he had. What you wish for. And at the end, things have worked out. But now, just an absolute blessing. And what kind of music do you like to listen to when you're cruising your hot rod?
Well, I still love the old 50s music, the 80s music. I can't handle all the rap stuff. It drives me crazy. But I still like all the old. I like old country. I pretty much like everything. You know, especially I like music. I like praise and worship music, but I like Christian music, and I like country music, and I like the good old 80s, even old hair band. You know, those are some of the cool ones too. So, yeah, you know, speaking of Veronica, you know, God has hooked us up together, and you know, we've been together 14 years our last week. So, congratulations. So God is.
Hannah, when I met Hannah, his daughter, she was in a baby. She was just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what, 3 or 4 years old?
Yeah. Yeah, she's 12 now.
12 now. Amazing. So what do you got coming?
Well, we've got some new customers we're going to be working for. Garrett's Hot Rods is building some cars.
Columbus, my boys up at Garrett's in Columbus, they're going to bring some cars out.
And we're starting to do some cars for Scott's Hot Rods. So I think they're building some cool cars. Of course, you know, Alloway's got quite a few cars that's coming this way. And there's quite a few cars that people are still building. You know, everybody loves their hot rods. Right. You know, I'll go without the hamburger. I've got to buy them big pieces, you know, for my car. Right. So it's cool. Yeah, there's been actually customers down in Naples, Florida, that's bringing cars up. And so it's been, you know, it's. Believe it or not, even though last year, even though all the COVID stuff, it's probably been one of our better years that we've had.
No, I believe it. All the shop I know is backed up, booked up, not business.
Yeah.
Any builder out there that you not work with that you like to work with? No, Alloway was a big deal.
Yeah.
And now he sends a lot of stuff to you.
They said we do all of Bobby's work now.
I know that's putting you on the spot.
There's some good builders out there that, you know, we wouldn't mind, you know, doing some work for them. When they get comfortable or want us to do something, we'd be more than happy to do it. I'm not one of them people that, you know, go and try to get work just because we got a lot of work. But if new customers want to come in, you know, we'll work with new customers and try to get them. You know, I understand if people's got deals, you know, visit certain shows and everything. So we'll work with, you know, a lot of customers. So there's a lot of cool builders out there. There's a lot of good interior guys out there.
There are young guys on both sides of the builders and interior side. And no, they're turning out some fabulous stuff.
Yeah, I'm just thankful to be up there with some of them high-end interior people.
Yeah, to keep up with them. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's some good people out there, really talented interior guys and car builders and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I think that there's more car builders than there are interior people, so that's why all the interior guys stay really busy. Right? So, you know, when you got, I don't know, 20 to 1, you know, maybe builders out there, you know, to one interior guy, and all these people are, you know, they're smart.
How long are people waiting out? Somebody brought you a car not a rush job, weren't willing to ride you and all that kind of stuff. Drop one off, when can they get it back?
Well, and I'll honestly, probably about 5 or 6 months. You know, and then some people, you know, they'll drop it off and say, just call me whenever. Bobby learned what not to do that.
Yeah, you're not the whatever, you'll just drop one off. Yeah, not the
I
whatever.
said, don't be, don't, you know, but no, we try, you know, we've actually had a car here, you know, for about a year and stuff, but, you know, they was in the middle of building a house and, you know, wasn't in a hurry, sort of neat. So, you know, I work with different, you know, somebody's in a rush, we're trying to get it done. If they don't care, they just need somewhere to keep the car for a while. We'll work on it in between, you know, because, like I said, the customer was building a house and didn't really have anywhere to put it. So, you know, it was, but on average, about 4 to 5 months. And that's just because when you bring it here, it's in line to get done. We start doing prep work, we start doing the floors, door panels, getting everything started to make while we're finishing up other cars. So it's sort of hard to, I used to try to make a schedule, you know, I'll have my car there this day. It's, the car don't get done. It's maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, 2 years down, they're still working on it. So I'm like, well, now we just have to, we get a spot, bring your car in, it's ready to get, you know, it's in line to get done. You don't have to wait a year, year and a half to get it in.
Well, how does the process work? What, I mean, is it like Henry Ford's assembly line?
Pretty much.
You do it? Yeah. I mean, because my question is, you say 5 or 6 months. Well, I know that, you know, if you worked on it every day, it would take 5 or 6 months for anything here. So my question was, does it have to be here that length of time to work through the process? Or could you say, 6 months from now, and I drop it off 6 months from now, and I get it back 3 weeks after that?
There's some people that, you know, that we've done work for, some, you know, high-end shops and things, they're trying to get into like with a Riddler or something like that. And if I know that it's going to be here, like Bobby Holloway, I know when his car is going to be here, and I know how much time I got to get it done to get it to that show. So, I mean, and you know, I get it done. Other people, they just want to drop it off and say, just call me when it's finished. You know, so I work it sort of a little bit, just on the normal thing. If you drop your car off, we'll start getting all your materials and everything for it, because nowadays it takes a little bit longer to get some of that stuff. And we'll start doing the prep work. So even though your car is here that long, it gets work done.
Right.
So we got 7 people that work. So, you know, some of them work as soon as the car comes in, start the prep work. You know, and some of them in the middle, you know, build the seats and stuff. And me and Ken and some other guys do all the finishing detail. You know,
So people do kind of have their own stations.
Yeah.
You're saying Garrett's, he's doing a lot of stitching now.
Yeah, he stays at the sewing machine a lot.
And then I know Dick, he does a lot of the trunks.
Yeah, well, interior parts and things like
Yeah,
that.
he got him out of the trunk.
I got him out of the trunk, and my cousin's in the trunk. Nick Franker, he's really good. He does really good. Oh, he's been here for 7 years now, or 5 years. I think, yeah, he's been 5 years now. Got a little tall, skinny guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just real quiet. Yeah, he's my cousin. I got some cousin. I got 2 cousins that work here, and 2 sons that work here. So, and the rest of us are family. You know, when we got people in here, we want everybody to feel like family.
Right. Somebody's asking if you're a veteran, if anybody is, or anything you can.
Well, you know, when I was 18, my grandfather took me to sign up for the Air Force. I wanted to go into the Air Force. So I wanted to get into the Armed Forces. They told me I was too stupid to join. So I'm like, whatever. Yeah. They said, you're probably about the only thing you could ever be able to do is be a military police. They said, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm like, okay, then fine.
You want to hear a funny attribute to that story? Because I am a veteran, when I went to the end to be a military policeman, they wouldn't let me be a military policeman. I almost came home because they were like, no, you're past this, that, and the other thing. No, you can't be a military policeman.
I guess at the time they wasn't really looking for anybody when I went, but I did try to go.
And I don't know that any of your kids are in the military.
Well, we had 2 that went to the
Daughters, right?
I had 1 daughter and 1 son that went to the military. They went through the basic training and things like that, and then put their time in and they got out. You know, they didn't do a full go overseas and things like that.
Any shows you're going to get out to this year?
Of course, I'll do your car show here coming up.
Right.
I got to be there.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Because you won't come up on Friday.
It's Friday's really hectic because, you know, you got all the paperwork, everything you gotta do. So, yeah, we usually try to make a day of the Saturday. Come on.
So if you can be at the 54 Dry Run, April 15th, 16th, and 17th, Saturday, you can usually get Steve to stop in for a few hours. And me was real good about that. His family, when we say his family's real good about that, because when he walks in, they lose him. It's like, Steve goes, they go do what they do, and everybody crowds around and wants to talk to Steve.
We'll go to the shake and pass, you know, stuff like that. There's some that I went to a lot. It's just according to how things go this year. I'm not going to fly anymore because, you know, when with all these restrictions and all that,
I know, and I told somebody that the other day, and they said, what are you going to do about SEMA? And I said, yeah, I guess I'm going to make that 2-day trip out there and drive. But I know what it was like going through TSA and all that stuff before all this goofy started. I can only imagine. I had no patience for it before, so I can only imagine. So, yeah, I'll make some kind of road trip on it.
It's funny how the airlines now and stuff, you know, if you don't do certain things anymore, you're not going to be allowed to fly anyway. I don't want to do those certain things, so
That's it. No,
I'm not going to be flying anywhere no more.
If people are interested in having you do an interior, how do you do that?
Just contact me. I'm really easy to get. I answer my own phone calls.
Right.
People are really shocked that I do that. They say,
I'm one. Whole world crashing down around Steve. I'm talking about he's got 7 employees going crazy. He's got 2 clients with trucks, wanting their cars loaded up, and he's standing in the middle of the phone, and whoever he's talking to has no idea that the whole world is just crashing around him. I can't do that. I lose my mind. But I've always remarked on how do you do that? And when I call them, you know, because I try not to bother you in the day or whatever, but I know sometimes I have to. And even when I call them, I try to get through it quickly. But I don't feel rushed because it's got better do it. So you do Facebook?
Yeah, we got Facebook.
And that has all your contact information on it.
Yeah, Pro Auto Custom Materials on Facebook. Steve Holcomb, I forget exactly how it's worded on there, but it's pretty much
Pro Auto Custom Materials by Steve Holcomb.
Yeah.
That's how the Facebook page is.
You know, now sometimes the easiest way to get a hold of me is just call me or text me.
Right.
You know, because all this, sometimes I don't even look at my Facebook all day, or, you know, it may be a couple of days before I can check my email or whatever. So some people, you know, in a world of instant messaging, instant this and instant that, they figure, well, if I hadn't got back with them instantly, then I'm not interested. Well, that's not the case. Sometimes I just don't, I'm so busy, I don't get onto my computer.
Well, a lot of people don't think it's really you. We had a guy in Afghanistan who was buddies were like, you ain't talking to Steve. And he's like, yeah, I am talking to Steve. He jumped on a plane and came over and met Steve.
Got his picture made, so he shows buddies in Afghanistan. Yeah, that was pretty neat.
Any other cool stories like that? When you think back, because we've talked about it before, what we do in the industry we're in, it's a real passion. It's more than just transportation from point A to point B. When you look back on an interior that you're like, man, it's just so much more than just an interior. I don't know, because of the way that people reacted or because of the project that you were involved in.
There's been quite a few people that work for them. Actually, even guys or whatever, like, I gotta give you a hug. I can't believe this is my car. You know, I've had men cry. You know, I think he was here one day. You know, we had a grown man just break down in tears because he couldn't believe that was his car. Right? You know, and it's so many people's like, man, that's 1,000 times more better than what I thought it was going to be. Of course, to me, in my thinking, I'm like, what are you paying me for? You know, you're paying me because you know, but I guess they just think that can't be reality. It can't be their car. Right? So that's the kind of people that's really, it's really pleasing for you to do something for them because they like so appreciative. You know, and
that's the real reward, more than the money.
Oh yeah.
It's that. And I answer this because there's several people that have asked, and they all want to know what car was wrong with us. So behind the camera where you can't see is a 76 Trans-Am.
Yeah.
Steve's car, 455 4-speed car. Nice, we'll do it. We haven't done a feature on it yet, but we will do a feature on it. The corner, you'll be able to tell, it's a Chevelle, but what is it,
66 or 7, I forget what it is now.
So that one's just come in. There's no interior on it. It's got transport wheels on it, no windows in it, none of that, but it is a nice looking car. That's Steve's brother's car. It's a C7.
Yeah.
And so it's a new body style Corvette. He's put a custom interior in that. Behind that, whether you can see it or not, on the other side of the truck, car, that is a 68 C10. That was just at Birmingham World of Wheels, and just come here to have the interior that it was at Birmingham World of Wheels taken out. Steve's gonna build another one, have it done, you'll be able to see it on the picture for drive around part of the Dirty Dozen. And then I don't know what, is this a cooler or
Oh,
challenge?
yeah, the cooler, that's a cooler challenge, I don't know.
It's one
of Dodges.
And so, and understand that the garage we're sitting in was built to be like the showroom and the clean room for when they put stuff together, but no sooner it got built than it was cars. And he's made a nice today, got it, not it stays nice in here, but we use it for the setting. He's got another aluminum building that's
We got a metal building up there, yeah, they moved quite a bit. There's 4 cars in that that need
56 and a 57, 55 and 56.
There's a 55 and a 56 in that garage.
One of them's always car, it's not black, so stay tuned, y'all can
Yeah.
see that. You got
A Riviera.
car, yeah.
There's a Riviera up there.
What is that?
I'm not really sure. I think it's a 68 somewhere around there. Yeah.
All right. It's like a
64.
Yeah.
Building.
And then you got a 58, another one Alloway's built, it's coming.
Yeah, that'll be done next week.
All right. And then you got first generation Camaro here.
60, there's a 60, I think that's a 69 up there.
Okay. And then you got a first generation Corvette.
Yeah, that's a 68.
Not 68.
58, I'm sorry, 58. Yeah.
Keep an eye. And then you got another channel.
Yeah, that's, that was Michigan, yeah.
So I don't know what year it is, like that.
71.
And then you've got another tripod.
There's a 57 in that. So we got a 50, 55, 56, 57, and a 58 here at the same time.
All coming to you soon, and you got your Corvette now.
Yeah.
So that's what you got going on right now.
Yeah. No.
That happens too. Sometimes you come out here and there's cars sitting in trailers because there's no room to put them inside. So Steve's a busy man, and on the hour, and I want to, of course, thank everybody for tuning in. Steve, thanks so much for giving an hour of your time and answering questions for us. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Again, if you're interested in seeing what Steve does, follow ScottieDTV. I shoot a lot of the stuff that comes out of here, and then he's